Okay, so we're going to keep going on our Chuck Close self-portraits. Recap: last time we filled in with exaggerated, super saturated color in each of the squares and averaged out just for each of the squares. We're looking at our color reference for that. Mine's in here. I've got a warm side with warm light. I've got a cool side. I've got my core shadow in between those two. Now what I'm going to do is inside of those squares, I'm going to try to make them more accurate. I'm going to subdivide them by making squares around the outside, the perimeter of the squares, or making smaller squares on the inside. I'm going to take it one little square at a time, and we're going to try to get it closer to what the real color is with mixing, rather than a super saturated over exaggeration of what the colors are there. However, my values should be pretty close already in terms of light to dark. So when you mix up your new colors, you want to still match the values that are there. You don't want to have an outside perimeter square that's really, really dark and then a light thing in the middle and then dark again. That'll lose the illusion. You want your values to be really close even if the colors are slightly different. And what we're doing basically is, when you see this image up close, you'll see squares within squares or circles within circles. But when you see it from further away, your eye won't be able to distinguish all of those details separately, and your eye will actually kind of blend the colors for you. So rather than the colors already be blending completely to the 100% accuracy with the paint, you're allowing there to be just a little bit of a variation in what the real color is there, but your eye will do some of the mixing for you. And that's what we want to have happen. So I'm going to demonstrate that for a little bit. Okay. It's going to be really important that you have this initial grid set up for you so you know that your values are close, and you can double check those as often as you need with a value scale. That's a value 2. That's a value 2. Okay, we're set there. And we're going to subdivide our squares now, which will allow us to get a little bit more detail. So for example, over here on this warm side, I've got that as being really, really bright yellow, but I do see some more peach values in my color reference here, so I'm going to soften that some, but try to maintain some of that value. And I'm going to start with this square that's right by my ear. Yeah, like right here on my cheek. I've got it like really crazy bright yellow, and my light is pretty yellowed in that. I was using an incandescent lamp. However, we're going to soften it some with some skin tones, but I don't want it to be too dark. That's too dark as is. That value is much darker. I'm going to lighten that up. There will be some squares where you'll have to average out the colors that are there, because there'll be several colors in it. You might not even be able to see that at that distance because the value is so similar. And rather than the perimeter on this next one, I'm just going to do the inside value on that. Now I actually know there's a little bit more orange and red in my reference here. And definitely in the bottom of my ear. So I'm going to get some more oranges and reds in there too. Notice how I'm holding my paintbrush kind of up to my photo. I know it doesn't show up great there, but from here I can see how close I am. That's looking pretty good. Sometimes I'll do like the perimeter on one and then the inside square on another. So I'll go around the outside and then maybe hit the middle on the next one. And you'll have to make some decisions, like my hair is quite a bit darker right behind my ear, and that square has my ear in it and the hair in it. So I've got to make some decisions. I'm actually going to lightly do a perimeter on that so it doesn't take over. But hopefully that kind of exaggerates my hair. And then that piece has another dark spot in the middle, so I'm actually going to put a darker square inside that one. And I'm going to subdivide in this way for basically every square in here, just trying to get a little bit more accuracy as I go. These are all really warm colors over here. Now there's going to be some subtleties too. Like my hair is brown, but there's actually kind of some olive colors in here. So I might have to cool some stuff off. It's actually really kind of nice in your transitionary places where it's got some warm spots and some cool spots to kind of go back and forth on that. So this is all mostly warm right here. But when I get into my hair, there's actually some cooler colors in there. Some olive colors. So I'm going to try to get a little bit of that. And we're going to be much more subtle at this point than we were before. Yeah, I'm actually going to put some green, some olive green into my hair in some of these places. That feels good actually. It's a little watery. The warm next to the cool kind of average out from a distance. Some of my squares might have several shapes inside them. Kind of zoom in on that area that I'm working on here. You see the shapes inside the shapes there. I'm still kind of averaging out the colors that are there. I'm thinking in this little square right here where I've got hair and ear, if I was to average that out, kind of what colors would end up being in there. And I'll use some of those colors. And the mixing doesn't have to be perfect because at a distance, when we hold it away, those colors just start to average out for us.